Hi, Zizaran here with another video, and I wanted to bring back Craft the Build, which was a series I started in Harvest League because we could very much like step by step craft everything in a build and show people exactly how to do it with, like a 99% success rate, right? Everything was just guaranteed. There was no RNG. There was no like, ooh, maybe you can craft this. I want to restart this series for guides that I have, at least some of them. It's going to be for the Spectral Shield Throw build that I have with Steel Mage. And we're going to talk a little bit about all the different items for the build and how to craft them. So let's talk about the shield first, because that is your main piece in this build. It's the main important thing. And in the Spectral Shield Throw, that is how we do damage. Like, that scales off the armor of your shield. So first, you want to find a Colossal Tower Shield. This is like your main shield for the end game. And if you're wondering if there is a reason to have influence bases, early on, no. It's going to make it a lot harder to make a good shield. And getting an actual properly crafted influence shield is going to be a long endeavor. Let's take a quick look at like mods and stuff on PoEDB here right now. So we have armor mods. That means that 72 is actually not a too bad level for this. And then we have the next at 84 and 86. So that means that there is a very good reason for us finding item level 86 shield here. We can see that at level 73 we have tier 1 armor. So the most efficient level early to craft a shield, and when I would actually start bothering to make a shield, is item level 73. Then you have both the 72 percentage armor and the 73 flat. The hybrid is 78 for like the highest one with just purest percentage of armor, and the highest hybrid is also 78, which is block chance. Slightly less armor, but you get block chance here. And block chance is a really good stat for the build because we can actually get close to block capped. So those are the 3 stats you want. You don't actually want life on your shield. It doesn't really matter. You just want to get as close to, I think, like 3.2 or 3.5 is the possible max that you can get on the shield. Now, as far as influence bases go, a Shaper shield would be a lot harder to roll to get a decent armor value, but now we can get percentage of life when you block, and the same with a Warlord shield, we can get percentage of life when you block as well. And that would be really good at endgame, because if you are able to get close to 75% block, I've had 64, I think was the highest I've had, but I dropped some block nodes to get more life and damage. But either way, if you are able to get 75% block and you have a life on gain shield, that is going to be insane. Honestly, I think the most realistic way to get a life on block shield is going to be to roll a really good one first on a item level 86 base, and we're going to tell you how to do that now, and then close it up with a Warlord orb and re-rolling the suffixes later. To start, you have a couple of different ways. First, you found your base, and then you have a couple of different things that you can use. Dense fossils are very good for this. Just spam them away and hope to get anything over 2,000. I'd say would be pretty worth keeping. If you're on hardcore, ideally you want to get high flat, high percentage, and hybrid so that you don't have to craft anything yourself. You can see here that I have like the roll that goes up to 91% armor, and if we look here, I can craft all the way up to 74. So let's say that this just didn't have that percentage roll, it would still be a very good damage shield, but I would not be able to get ailment immune on my character then. So ideally you want to be able to craft your own suffix. Other than that, I have chaos resist on my shield, and really good all around. And you want to try to get 30 quality on your shield. You can either get that with perfect fossils before you start crafting, or you can get Hillock at like 28, or sorry, level 3 or level 2 on fortification. Sorry, level 3 or level 4. Level 4 would be doing Katarina, and we give it quality 30. So that'd be very strong there. The other option is to use the harvest mod, which is like reroll with defense. That's basically the same as fossils, and you just want to spam that until you get something good. And there is another mod as well that is very strong and is very useful. And that is this one. Reforge a rare item, being much more likely to receive the same modifier type. There's probably a lot of people watching this video that might be skipping this mod and feel like, oh, maybe it's not that strong. But it's the strongest common mod that we have access to right now. The way it works is that let's say that this shield, right? Let's say that this was maybe 20% armor and the sunblock recovery and like 80 armor. And maybe it didn't even have the armor mod, and we craft that on the bench. And then I do reforge more likely. That's actually how I made this shield. Even though the crafted bench is just crafted, it's the same type of roll as this percentage armor, the third mod girded. So it will try to roll all of it. And it is a 90 times more likely to roll the same mod that is on the mod, but on a different tier. And it's very, very strong. It's an incredibly strong mod. So I recommend that a lot. I always save every time I come across this. I use it for making wands, boots, everything. It's particularly good on things that aren't incredibly rare. Like I would never do this on something like +1 spell gems because that is so rare. We'll cover a lot of the other gear as well. Obviously like boots and ring, not very complicated. You just reforge life for ring, reforge life. You could use shuddering and pristine fossil. I actually made these boots with reforge more likely as well. What I did was I alt rolled until I had either life or movement speed and one res, and then crafted the other, and then did reforge more likely. Gloves are pretty important for this build. You really want hunter. There are other base types as well that are good, but getting hunter on them is very, very hard, and there is a good reason to get hunter. Let's see, damage over time. There are some gloves that do like 50% increased damage with your offhand. However, that doesn't matter for this build because it doesn't scale bleed. But the damage over time does. So this is really good, especially if you have hunter of these. Or just having these normally will make a perfectly okay usable glove. The thing that we really want with hunter is that hunter gloves can get physical damage over time multiplier, which is the strongest thing to scale our build's damage. But this is perfectly okay gloves, and you put corrupting fever in here. Other items like Soul Tether, just unique, Death Rush, just unique. They're very, very good for the build. Soul Tether is pretty much best in slot. It gives us Slayer Overleach. The helmet, I just used Shrieking Essences. And yeah, easy clap. Ideally, you want to have an open suffix. The increased duration of ailments while focused is really good for making sure your bleed lasts to max stacks on bosses. And then next up, that is important, we have our weapon. This can be a warlord weapon, and the best base would be that axe that has global physical damage over time. Can't exactly remember what it's called, but other than that, pretty much any warlord weapon that you can use, mace, sword, or axe, should all be fine. Some swords have really high dex requirements, so maces and axes are very easy to use, and you don't need to worry about it being an axe for this node. The only thing that we want here is the bleedings you inflict deals damage 15% faster for when you anoint that. Need a black oil for that though. But here, I just did Reforge Physical. Same with Reforge More Likely would also be doable here, but yeah, I just did Reforge More Likely. And then all you want to do is as close to tier 1 on the damage with bleeding and as close to tier 1 with the physical damage over time. That's all you want. If you are able to get something like a resist or something as your other suffix, that would probably be really helpful for the build. Next up, we have the cluster jewels recommended in the build. And for this one, I would probably just be spamming Reforge Physical and hoping to get all three. You could also use jagged fossils. For this one, these are both tagged as life, so you could do reforge life modifier on a medium cluster. So that is pretty much a TLDR of all the items for the build and how to craft them. And as you can see, like most of the items in the build aren't that like spectacular, not much like really needs a lot of life. Another thing I could mention, Lionized Vision is a really good test. Steel Mage is using that at the moment. I haven't found one yet, but what I did found is this, which I'm trying to 6th. This is just an incursion chest with hybrid life and an open prefix. So this has 18% life when perfectly divined and a lot of life. It's like 100 or maybe 200 or 300 more life than a belly. So it's really nice. I'm trying to 6th that, and yeah, I think Lionized Vision would be the best though. The Pierce feels really good while clearing. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and that it helps you. Hope you guys are enjoying the build and 3.15. Sub if you liked the video. More importantly, try to die less than I do.